Okie dokie smoky.
So we are doing our pop culture, and I feel like there's just so much going on in huge stories that are taking over everything. That we're not going to get into this, but it's so weird when somebody says something to you and it makes you think like, oh my God, like, because the world is weird, and we know that like a lot of people actually control what we see and all that. And they were like, all these top stories are just a distraction from politics. Yes. So it gets everybody's mind like, gosh, the algorithm can literally, I mean,
Influence what you see, what you do, who you talk to.
The Gypsy Rose, how many followers does she have?
So Gypsy Rose is someone. So this is what's crazy about Gypsy Rose. Nat and I were on a plane back in, I want to say, October, and we watched this documentary. I was like, Nat, I can't watch this. She's like, I'm like, it's crazy. I had to turn it off. I'm like, but I don't know who watched it first night. I'm like, can't do this. And this is so weird. And
because I was talking about the other one was Save Maya, and everyone was like, did you watch the original Gypsy Rose one? I was like, I don't know what you're talking about.
So we watched Gypsy Rose, and Gypsy Rose is, if you don't know, because if you're not on social media like everybody, like most are, you maybe
or watch daytime television,
wouldn't come across. Oh, she's everywhere. So she is someone who, you watch the whole thing, I watched a bit of it, is taught that she is has severe disabilities, can't see, can't talk, like has so many issues that her mom puts her on like CPAP machine, like just crazy.
She has a feeding tube.
Just crazy ass shit, okay? And
so many surgeries.
Basically,
so apparently this syndrome,
Munchausen by proxy.
Basically it often means that like a parent convinces the world, herself and her child, that their child is sick, but in most cases, like this mother, it's for attention. So she also seeks to like be praised for having to take care of this sick child.
And they go to like they're spokespeople for certain she's a spokesperson for like certain alliances, and they go on trips for like children who are really not dying.
Yeah.
And so they're like, we're not sure how long she's going to live for. So they're going and going and going. How did she get caught that she wasn't? How did they find out she was okay? And then I was like, I can't watch this. I can't actually watch this.
Gypsy ran away
because she knew she was okay.
She knew she could walk, and but they said the one thing that made Gypsy kind of weak is that because her mother if you don't use muscles or anything, then it does make you weak, and when you don't eat the right and you're on all this medication, you don't feel normal. But she knew she could walk. And she ends up, I can't believe her mother let her get access to the internet, because that's where she found her first online boyfriend.
Yes.
And if you want to control your kids, don't let them on the internet.
Oh, what happened with the other one too? The other one I watched on the plane. Mm-hmm. He killed his dad. Mm-hmm. Remember? Because his dad was making him feel, and he called, like, I've killed my dad. And they're like, and they began to unwind. He wasn't allowed to go to school. He wasn't allowed to do, and like he was caught in he wasn't allowed to do anything.
Yeah.
They left him like do nothing. They made him feel like he was not smart enough to do anything. Anyway, she ends up killing her mom. The boyfriend kills her mom, and she goes to jail. She's getting out of jail right now, and she went from, I think...
And her husband, her ex-boyfriend is in jail for life because they plotted it together, but he actually executed the murder. So, I mean, in that way, although I was thinking to myself, and our controversy is not about like, well, her mother put her through hell. Her mother robbed her of her whole life, okay? But if I told you, I was like, Kat, I want you to kill my husband, okay? And then I'm dead serious, and I never hold back, and I never like, and then you do it. Like, okay, I know I didn't kill somebody, so maybe I wouldn't have been able to actually go through with murder, but you went through that, so you're the murderer, so you actually did it. So I guess there's a big difference.
It's kind of like stopgaps. Like, you're like, when someone comes through the bad idea, you have a choice whether to do it or not. You're not. It's not like they said it was it goes back to when your mom's like, if they jumped off a bridge, would you jump off a bridge?
Right.
It's the same thing. So
even though she knew he was going to kill and she helped do the whole thing,
she didn't actually physically do it. So there's
a big difference between actually murdering and planning a murder.
Totally. And so she's out, and she started off at like something like 47, like maybe not like maybe 100,000 followers. She's up to like, I should see where she is, because I watched someone on TikTok who was watching and was like, in a week she gained like 16 million followers. She is literally everywhere.
super. It's like she's been, I don't know if while she was, and she's also married. She met a pen pal and she married him in jail, and he's super supportive. And they're doing interviews from everything from The View to every podcast to every single person is having them on. And she's really well spoken, and
She's almost at 10 million followers now.
Really well spoken, and also really media prepared with. And I wonder if while she was in jail she got agents and managers. I'm gonna assume it's yes, because how would she be able to book all this? And they media prepared her, because the way she speaks, she doesn't make a mistake.
So her videos, there is not one video below 9 million views. It is 82 million, 19 million, 20. So they, in America, you make money off your videos. So she is probably making bank off her TikTok right now, and she only has like 6 posts.
And she's doing a new doc now, because she's like, it's really frustrating watching all these people doing these docs without my voice. So I guess a new one's coming out now. This is
they better rip it out fast, because this day and age, these
it's like Tiger King. It was like, you can't even imagine what the world. And he was also involved in this too,
in Gypsy Rose,
because her husband and his friend were like, it was like a dare or a bet, and it was through like pen pal, because he's also in jail too, so I'm gonna pen paling him and her and like seeing whatever. But it is, and he's gonna give her a white wedding because Gypsy Rose deserves that.
Just the fascination and the normality of some, and people are like, she's my hero, she's my icon. Even people we know have done like videos and like, you're a queen, Gypsy Rose. I'm just like, she killed someone, she was involved in a murder, and we're all like, go, well, you got this.
Well, was the planning of her murder really self-defense?
I mean, listen, I'm not gonna. The
situation kind of is, right?
Situation's terrible, but to make her a superstar based on, listen, she's a survivor. We should be celebrating that she's a survivor. She went through so much, but I do feel like this whole genre of people being like, I idolize Gypsy Rose. I'm just because of. It just sort of feels unstable in a lot of ways to me, where I'm like, this pop culture feels insane to me.
And also, I would say the majority of people, I know that we can always go back to like, lots of people have struggles in their life. And if Gypsy Rose can live her whole life like that and then go and live in jail.
If your daughter brought home a friend who went to jail and was involved, it was like, yeah, I went to jail for being involved in killing my mom, but now things are great. You would kind of be like this, huh? Like, if you're able to plot a murder, even like, it's one thing to be enraged when someone does something to you. Let's just say someone hurt our kids and we were able to like frickin', like defend them back. It's another thing to sit there for a few months and think about killing someone and then finding someone to do it. It's just a different vibe.
And then the other thing is like, okay, so I know she's like presenting really well and all of this, and someone said, are you in psychotherapy? And she's like, I am. Who knows how much or how little she actually is. But that girl who is coming across super, super normal lived for, what was it, like 15, 17
a lot of years.
The amount of PTSD and emotional like shit that it's gonna, her brain, can your brain be normal after being treated like that by the woman that's supposed to love you the most?
I mean, I'm sure your world's rocked by quote unquote what's normal. Like when your world is rocked from trust, the thing that's fucked up is, and everyone who's done social work or psychotherapy, whatever, the most normal people, the way you become the most normal, and I hate that word, is when someone intervenes and brings your sense of realness, like an adult intervenes into the fucked upness of your world. Those are the people who seem to tend the best, because it shows someone's got my back. When people who hurt you, who are supposed to love you the most, and no one takes care of you.
Nobody intervened for her. She's like, no doctors.
Listen, everyone's different.
Her dad didn't.
So I would say that, and yeah, no, the aunt and stuff was kind of like, I knew something wasn't right.
Oh, and the dad was like, I knew it wasn't right. I could they were
all making money off of it too. They're making so much money off of it.
He's also so apologetic. Like, comes across definitely like nice than the new wife and stuff, but nobody intervened for her in all those years. Nobody came and saved her.
Statistics would say you have a less of a chance of finding stability and normality in your world. Happens when there's not someone as an adult who comes and helps you when you're a kid and you have to live with it.
I guess her boyfriend came and helped her, didn't he?
And now they're married. Oh, no, that boyfriend. Yeah.
That poor guy. Sorry, he's a murderer. But that guy gets trapped into this whole shit. And now he's in jail for the rest of his life. Can you imagine? His parents are like, and now she's a celebrity, and my son is in jail because
That's what I'm saying. It's really messed up that we're idolizing like someone who went to jail for murder of their parents. It's weird. Like if you really break it down and stop the entire social media has become our news and our reality, which is so fucked up because right now there's a huge controversy going on about Sephora and 10-year-olds and 8-year-olds going into Sephora. Okay. So it's this huge, I'm sure you've seen it. It's everywhere because there's videos of these 10-year-olds going to Sephora and knowing the products of what to get and they're buying them and how expensive they are.
Remember when we saw them? I was with you.
Yeah. We were
Where were we?
In America. We were in Vancouver. We were in one of them when there was all these kids. I actually know someone very close to me who had a birthday party and they got to go to Sephora and they were in
Sephora must be just. It used to be just grown-ups. Now it's grown-ups money for grown-ups and for their daughters.
So everyone's like, this is outrageous. What are we raising? And we actually have an article for the Common Parent members about sort of because some people are concerned about their like what is this telling them about who they are as people if they want makeup so young. So we have a whole article of how to talk to your kids about it and what to say and when it's a problem. Anyways, I thought, I'm like, are any of you shocked? Are any of you shocked when kids watch YouTube reels? No, not reels, YouTube shorts as source of entertainment, and everything is get ready with me. Like Chloe and all of her friends in grade 3 have the headbands and do a fake morning routine with their geisha, whatever.
And we watch little girls that are like 5 and 6 years old, and the way how they drop it on their like.
And I'm like, so everyone's
they have baby skin.
So everyone's outraged, and I'm like, how are you even? What part of you is even shocked that they know what Reginaire de Salt, whatever that is. My daughter knows Charlotte Tilbury, my little one knows all of it, not only from her older sister, but from everything else. And I'm like, culturally, this is on us. Like, yes, the parents are, it's really expensive to buy those products.
That's one thing I was thinking about the cost of all these things that the kids need because they see it on TikTok is, are we living in a world where they're able to get it? Because think about when we were young, there wasn't any money to be able to.
Starbucks is $7,
right? But they're all doing
normal.
So how are these parents dealing with the pressure, or are there? It sounds so stupid, naive, actually, but are there areas that aren't our reality where there's no chance they'd ever walk into a Starbucks? So the pressures aren't the same.
I think that
where do they get the money?
I think that it comes like this slippery slope where everyone's like, it is outrageous, but then you'll see girls with the nails at a really early age, which is so expensive. And then you'll see them with the lashes, which is really expensive. So it's really easy to judge and, to be like, this is they're a spoiled, outrageous generation. And I'm just like, let's bring reality in and say, if we are thinking we have a problem, this isn't just the kids' problem. This is society, which was shaped because $7 for a drink is outrageous. So Bethany Frankel, who's, God bless her. I hate that word, not God, but I hate the whole she's super honest, super opinionated, like sticks to her guns, does not give a fuck if she's wrong or right. Like this is just her opinion and she's going to lay it out there even if people come after her. They've tried to cancel her a million times and she just keeps coming back.
You know what? She was always kind of outspoken, but now that she's a multi-billionaire, she doesn't give a fuck what you think.
So she goes on and just goes to town about the parents of these children, and it's like, this is a parent thing. They should be outright like they're spoiled children. Like I went to the drugstore thing and she's like, here's where I was like, tricky, Bethany, tricky. And I'm not looking for a war with Bethany at all. But she was like, I'll buy my daughter like Starbucks and she can have a Starbucks and she can get like a boba tea and stuff like that. And I'm like, this is
the same thing.
This is what's interesting is we decide what we think is okay or not okay because a $50 foundation will last them a year. A $7 boba tea 3 times a week.
We'll poop it out.
In a second, and they might get more than 3 a week. So I'm kind of like, we're really splitting hairs when we're having this conversation of what's spoiled and what's not. Now, letting your kid go and spend I've linked some of the videos, but letting them go to town at Sephora, like if that's your prerogative. I mean, I see kids in $300 coats, and like UGG boots at a young age. Like I'm like, we are really deciding what morally who's right and who's wrong, and I'm like. I used to watch my mom do makeup. Well, she never wore makeup, but I know we all see little girls watch our moms do makeup and want to put makeup on. Remember, Chloe used to try to put lipstick on at 2 years old. I have videos of her trying to do it, even though I don't even wear lipstick. But she was like We had the fake makeup kits when they're younger with the purses. It's really no different other than they have access to a really cool store that's really fun to go into. Really fun to go into.
Yeah.
And it's pumped at them all day long.
Yeah.
All day long.
It's like a drug. And there's always something new. And they're committed and devoted to nothing.
Oh, no. There's no brand loyalty. It's what is hot at that. Oh, Olivia wants the new Laura Mercier. Like, it doesn't even wear a thing. She's like, do you see this? Because it's viral. I said, I go, so I have a new thing for her. I said, every time I want you to fill your cart with everything you want that day. And then I want you to see how much it is. And then I want you to add the tally of how much you would have spent because you want it for a month and see how much you actually could save if you didn't go buy that product. Because next week, there's going to be another product that everyone's going to be like.
You know, like when we're talking about this, one lesson that I think that you could like instill as as a part of their character in this case. And I think the temptation of the peer pressure is too hard, but something that they could think about as they get older, and you could like plant the seed, is there's always going to be a trend. Everybody's going to want that thing, but maybe consider what you actually like and what you think is cool. And could you potentially be like, just because it's trending, like, you know, there's some clothes. We were at this place and there was roller rabbit pajamas. So I said to my niece, I go, do you know these? And she goes, yeah, everybody has them. But she's like, but when I'm thinking about spending that much money, she goes, I think about all the things I could get for that much money. And I don't really need to just sleep in these things. Right. And I'm like, I would just hope that there's going to be trending things all the time. What I would like to tell my kids or my daughter, I think this would be the core thing that would matter to me in this case is, just because everybody else has it, don't you want to kind of be cooler than that? I know you think you're going to be the coolest because you have everything everybody has, or you have that new skincare and then you do that video and you do that. But is anybody stronger than just being cool enough to be like I remember there was this young kid and everyone was listening to this kind of music and I would babysit her. And she just liked another kind. She goes, I don't really care what everybody else likes. This is the kind of music I like. And then they would kind of get bullied a little bit for like, why do you listen to that kind of music? So you've got to be prepared for that too. But most kids are followers.
Most kids don't know what's on someone else's face. Most kids aren't like, oh, that's the new Laura Mercier. Looks amazing. Like, it's in your drawer. It's consumption. They're not like.
That's what I said. And that's what I said about Beauty Pie is.
Go to a Beauty Pie factory and you'll feel like a real idiot.
A real idiot. I'm like, okay, if you really want a name brand thing because you want to show that you spent that money and you want to wear it, like, let's say you have like, what's a designer purse?
A Louis Vuitton.
Okay, a Louis Vuitton. Okay, I can appreciate that you want to publicly show off that you spent that money and got that. But if it's in skincare and makeup, you're sorry. Oh my God, is that the new Chanel?
Right.
Because that Chanel lipstick is made, that same color is made by 450 other skincare brands. Nobody knows.
And the reason we say go to a Beauty Pie factory is because they go to all the places that
the labs.
The labs, and this kind of goes back to like social media and the trends and like that what we watch and the news that's trending in like pop culture, like Gypsy Rose and like the makeup and shit, because the trend of the foundation this week is going to be gone by next week. And another huge TikToker did like trends I forgot about, like makeup I forgot about.
Yes.
Because it goes on, but what does it look like in 10 hours? Or like, what is it good for your skin? Because your skin and my skin are two totally different things. So you're telling me all of these people on TikTok, they all can wear the same makeup and it does the exact same thing for everybody. I'm like, how? This is crazy. And I totally like looked, I was like, oh, I had got sucked in yesterday to TikTok makeup because I watched one and it served me and it served me and it served me.
Me too. And when I was in Boston, I bought it.
So you're saying, can't you be cooler than enough? Yeah. No, it's hard.
But it wasn't the name brand for me. It's that when I saw the way it looked on their skin, I believed my skin would look that way.
And do you think your skin looks different than any other time? So that's the thing that's really hard is
I know.
Because it's like, you bought the Laura Mercier one? A different thing. So it was like the consumption of what comes at you and them, and when they're so young and they don't have the hindsight to believe that everything is real on the internet
Yeah.
because even I fall into everything
Of
is real.
course,
When
yes.
someone told me that I was wrong about how I was saying the hockey league, and I actually believed her rather than thinking,
Yes.
but what I like, she corrected me and
I
I was like,
know.
oh, she's right. I took that as a fact, which is so fucking scary.
Yeah, I know.
That's scary.
But you know what would be the coolest trend?
Go ahead.
Is if if a new trend that came for kids was like, I like this, and I've liked this for a long time because it works for me, which is never worked because the marketing industry,
They're geniuses.
they wouldn't be making money if someone just was devoted to one thing. And their thing was, this is what makes me different than everybody else on the internet. Now the problem with that is the exact same thing as, and it goes all the way up to adults, is confidence in yourself. Confidence in yourself to say, I like something different than everybody else, or I believe something different than everybody else. And we know that adults still aren't confident enough to be their own thing. So to expect children to be, or teenagers who are totally influenced by their peers, to be different, it's a lot to ask, but it would be so cool if they were just like, I found this thing. I don't care what the brand name is. I don't care how much it costs. I just love it, and I love it because it makes me different.
I think we can teach. I think what I'm hearing is that we have to teach them like savviness within social media, because we know our kids take TikTok as fact. Like it's news. We know that they take opinions as like, oh, this is happening. And I'm like, I bet most people believe that the aliens actually came to Miami.
I didn't hear about them.
Oh, you haven't heard about this?
But hold on. If aliens came to Miami and they have facts, they did.
There's no pictures. There's no. Everyone said that their pictures, their phones went wonky when there was aliens walking through the mall. And anyway, there's this whole thing about aliens coming to Miami. Okay, and everyone
love aliens.
Yeah. So there's a whole TikTok conversation about aliens, like that aliens actually landed, and you see like, and someone else is like, it was a fight in the mall. It was not alien. So, but the alien story has gone crazy. Just like when the girl on the plane on TikTok saw the alien in the sea.
The guy's eyes.
Okay, so now everyone has these stories and they're so believable.
Oh yeah.
But you and I can be like, okay, but our children, they're like.
And by the way, right now, if you haven't heard about the alien thing, so right now I hadn't heard about that, right?
It's gonna come up on your phone in a minute.
Yeah, that too. I have 4 kids. They're all on TikTok. I know that I go home and I say, alien. They'll all. That little one, the boy, he's the worst for believing everything.
Well, he's 9, of course. I believe, of course. That's what I'm saying. But
I get to work with him at a younger age to start to prove him wrong. Like a rumor came up that there was that toothpaste that was Prime flavored. So I, of course, go out at Christmas to buy that Prime flavored toothpaste. I found out that it was actually an April Fool's joke that was on TikTok, but he believed it. So I'm trying to prove to him like things where I can find the truth, so his young brain can not trust the world anymore.
And it's actually so scary because there was this thing about the Golden Globes, and you see Taylor Swift, Selena Gomez, and someone else having like a conversation. They decided, someone lip read and put the story at what actually happened and blasted it universally.
They have multiple ones right like that right now where they're pretending what the conversation is, and the lips look like they totally are following.
And I'm just like, so if you only see that one story, now that's the story you leave with. And that's the story that is going. Now we have just increased a woman's feud even further. So now we have created a feud amongst 2 women once again. And no one is like, let's stop putting women against each other. And ironically, the jokes at the Golden Globe, the one that didn't go like, there was a lot of conversation about it, but the
Taylor Swift and Barbie were the big ones.
Taylor Swift, but Barbie didn't come out as much as Taylor Swift because Taylor Swift is obviously so popular right now. But he made kind of an inappropriate joke about the Barbie movie. Yeah. And I was like, I said to my kids, I said, you kind of have to read the room when you are in a group full of women who are trying to change an industry. And they're all, I'm like, you have to, as a man, you have to go in there and feel, okay, someone, there's that script went through a lot of people.
Oh, yes.
I hope that men can stop and be like, I'm in a group full of women, maybe making derogatory women jokes.
Like, especially like, I don't know if Joe, who's the host, by the way, a lot of people like, who was Joe Kawai? We know who he is. He's a stand-up comedian. But the Barbie movie is exactly the opposite of what that joke was. So I don't know if he saw the movie, because I think that should have hit right away, but two things about him hosting is, number one, a stand-up comedian often hosts these award shows. A stand-up comedian, where they do the best, really the best, and where they start their careers, is in a comedy club where they say a lot of inappropriate jokes to people who are either prepared for that or they're a fan of their comedy.
Totally.
The Golden Globes is not a stand-up.
No.
You have opinions of all kinds.
And you're a lot of people watching.
And a lot of people watching.
Who are, and young
of all
kinds.
All. So, you know when you like a stand-up comedian, you go watch them because you like that genre, but you don't like every stand-up comedian. No. So you have to appeal to everyone. Now,
it should have been a duo. Going forward, they need to have a man and a woman.
Here's a question. Do women get asked less to host these things, or are women too fucking smart to accept? I don't know. I think
I wonder if our team can play the clip before, like the clip that went around. I think that even if a woman doesn't want to host, okay, like even if, because I hear a lot of people are like, it's hell, and that's the reason that 10 days before they hired Joe.
And Joe's also like, for him, this was huge for his career because, like I said, a lot of people don't know who he is.
And Steve Martin came out and was like, that's the hardest gig, and it's stand-up's not for like what you just said.
And Tiffany Haddish was like, bless you, like, I mean, I love you, like,
so
it cannot be easy.
I think people have to warn him, and they should have been like, hey, understand that there's a lot of powerful women who've been through fucking hell and haven't been paid the same, and don't make comments about women. Like, let's bring women together. I
think it's safest for it to be a woman or a late night talk show host.
Yeah, you're right.
Because they do a monologue.
They don't want that.
They don't want it, but they do a monologue every single night that's funny, and they know how to appeal to a large audience.
The temperature of the room.
And they're so aware of everything because they're not doing like the kind of shows that Joe's doing. Like, just so you know, Joe does the same theaters that we do. So when we would travel on tour, he would always be like a day next.
Yeah, no, and he got big. He was getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
And he did his movie,
and then Taylor Swift fans were like, "Hell, like you can."
Although his joke, I mean, it wasn't funny, but it also was like truth. Yeah, and it wasn't a diss to her at all. It was actually a compliment to her.
Yeah, I think though she was like, I'm here, and I think the whole point is respect me as an artist for who I am, not that I'm a football player's girlfriend. Like, we're here at an award ceremony for our craft and our profession. It's not like, so be aware that I am here alone, and I am not the sum of my boyfriend.
Yeah, but the biggest joke ever is how much she's on camera at the football game.
Yeah, totally. But I understand why the joke was kind of like, did you do about a man? I didn't see many. A lot of women are the butt of a lot of jokes.
It should have been more of dissing Travis, because Travis's career is undermined now because of Taylor.
Totally.
No one cares about his game.
My husband nearly died when she's like, when's Taylor's boyfriend playing again?
Yeah.
I was like this, oh my God, you never cared about football.
No.
And I think, what are they called? The Kansas City Chiefs. She's like, when are they playing? And I was like, he was like,
because we get to watch Taylor having cocktails with her red lips in the box, having so much fun.
Taylor's boyfriend. I was like,
do you know what I also love about her? She's always got a cocktail in hand. She loves Diet Coke and vodka. And then she also is always a drink. Just having fun. And she doesn't care about judgment.
I also do love that she's a badass. I do like that she's like, fuck you, like, don't make that joke about me. I do like that she didn't have to, like, if you didn't like the joke, don't pretend to laugh. I like that you gave side eye. I'm like that you're like, go fuck yours, and don't make a comment about it after. I like that. Just kind of like, that's got to be a strong person to sit there and have knowing the camera's coming at you when someone makes a joke of you in front of all of your peers. And I mean, I feel like Taylor
always does her own thing. She's the only one up.
She's exactly what you wanted. Remember when you said, you just butt the trends, be who you want to be?
That's what she said. I'm never going to be edgy. I'm never going to be sexy. And I'm never going to be cool. She absolutely is. She knows what she is. Like and
that's cool in itself.
That's the thing that makes her the coolest. Is when no one's standing up dancing at all these awards shows and the Grammys and stuff, she's one up on her seat dancing all alone.
I love that.
And maybe it's because she had cocktails. Good for her. Or maybe it's because she just is so cool she doesn't give a fuck anymore.
I don't think she does a fuck. I mean, she doesn't give a fuck.
And yet she's still such a nice, kind, lovely girl.
Because we know her so well.
I mean, I think she looks really nice.
I think she's got good parents. Yeah. If you have good parents, I bet they don't drop her off at Subway and then pick her up. Anyways, y'all, thank you for listening. Make sure you share, subscribe, and let's go.